Today, we bring a story of a man who gets cheated on by his wife. She plans to get him kicked out of his own house by accusing him of domestic abuse and later marry her affair partner. Let's start. I'm a 42-year-old male, and my wife, a 38-year-old female, chose to be a stay-at-home wife to take care of our two kids, aged 1 and 4. I used to work full-time as an attending oncologist in a large hospital in our town. However, due to my wife's needs at home, I've reduced my clinic time by half and started utilizing telehealth to make up for the break in my in-person work. For clarification, traditionally, we did not hold clinics via telehealth. Still, thanks to COVID and restrictions that we had no choice but to implement this option during the height of the pandemic in 2020 to 2021. A patient on active treatment has to come into the hospital in person. To this date, many cancer hospitals still have visitor restrictions and offer telehealth options for patients who are being seen for follow-ups, survival, and general reasons. Many larger academic centers have also implemented teleservices for clinical research, in which we explain protocols and collect informed consent. I do not only work 6 hours a day. I dedicate 6 hours when working from home solely to work and still report in person for clinic twice a week, and I'm on call 1 weekend a month. It's not uncommon for my patients to see my kids during virtual meetings, and admittedly, it brings smiles to both my kids and patients. We have active support from both our parents, who are available and willing to help watch our kids. My income is sufficient, and if needed, my wife could hire a nanny part-time, full-time, or live-in. My wife and I have been together for 15 years, married for 6. We never really felt pressured into marriage, but with our plans to have kids, it naturally made sense for coverage and benefits. Her first experience with postpartum depression, PPD, with our first child was a roller coaster, and we faced similar problems, minus the need for me to be home more and the issue of infidelity. We made it through and were actually recovering positively from it until she gave birth to our second child. Despite my efforts to make it work for everyone, I know my wife is dealing with postpartum depression, which she had with our first child and another time with a miscarriage. I've offered various forms of help, but she insists on not talking to strangers or my friends, believing that doctors talk behind her back. 3 weeks ago, I discovered through a colleague in the same Facebook mothers group as my wife that she posted a vent expressing dissatisfaction with our relationship. According to her post, she would have left me by now if it weren't for the lifestyle I provide. She accused me of providing no support at home, being clueless about raising kids, and prioritizing work over her and our children. She claimed to be talking to her ex and engaging in extramarital affairs, sneaking money from our account without my notice. After confronting her about the post, she tried to play it off as a joke, but I understood that she was lying. She now suggests we start from the beginning and fall in love again. I wanted to investigate and did some digging. I checked her phone while she was sleeping. I found that she was already cheating on me with her ex-boyfriend, and she has mentioned in some texts that she plans to leave me soon. She plans to file a divorce and cite domestic abuse as a reason and throw me out of my own house. Her affair partner believes he is about to put our house under his name, a property that my parents bought for us as a wedding gift, and we have yet to transfer the title to our names. So technically, the house does not belong to me yet. I spoke to my attorney and asked him to check how this will impact me and how to sort this out. I also stated that since it is clear that she is cheating on me and I do not believe that PPD can cause someone to cheat, I now have to file for divorce as soon as possible. My attorney spent the past 2 weeks reviewing the case, and they believe we have enough evidence to prevent the damage she might cause with her pending divorce plans. Her legal counsel is her aforementioned ex, an unemployed electrician who was fired for being high on the job. According to mutual friends, he still believes he is about to put our house under his name. I'm experiencing a mixed bag of emotions. I'm laughing in disbelief at everything, but I'm also crying at the revelation that I wasn't good enough for someone I love and started a family with. My primary concern is ensuring our kids grow up with both their parents and can decide for themselves, when they're older, who they want to live with more. I'm certain and scared that she will try anything to take our kids away from me completely and later brainwash them to see me as the villain. Now, I am contemplating fighting for full custody, as her ex seems to have significant influence over her decisions, swaying her easily after all these years. Most of all, I'm angry right now. My attorney handed over the divorce papers to me and asked me to record the conversation. I handed her the divorce papers and recorded the video on my phone. When the conversation about the divorce proceedings was opened, my wife's first concern was, what's going to happen to me? What will happen to my needs? Her attitude irked me, especially when I pointed out that she has the means to go back to work like before. Before our kids, her annual income was around 65 to 70K a year. Not bad. For those wondering, before any honorariums and external funds from private ventures, have a base income of 355K a year. However, her argument is that it's not the same, questioning how she can provide for the kids if she has to work. Of course, it will not be the same. What was your plan? Sleep with your ex in my bed, spend my money on him, and then come back to spend my money. If I am not good enough for you, it means I am not good enough, and you have a better option. So, I hope your partner can spend and take care of all your needs. She then stated that no one will believe that I was cheating as I never leave my house. I'll sue you for domestic abuse and make sure that you are on the streets. I then made a poker face and said, what if I am able to prove you as a cheater? She fell silent and then stated what will haunt her for the rest of her life. She claimed that she is not mentally stable and stated that she will go into therapy for the same. I asked again, so you think that you cheating on me is your mental disorder? She nodded, and I was laughing inside. That was a weak argument and a lame excuse. All this while, she didn't mention anything about the kids or her mother, whom I financially and medically support because they did not have the means to do so. The focus is solely on her and what she wants. I wish our children were old enough to comprehend all of this, before, during, and moving forward after the divorce. At the suggestion of my attorney, I left the house after serving her. I have not and will not kick my wife out until either I am forced to or my attorney states it's best she leaves. I've given her an open-door policy where she's free to come and go as she pleases, just don't take the kids with you. My wife also seems to forget that our house has a pretty robust CCTV system with 24/7 surveillance that is saved. I'll spare you the details of the proof found in the system, but with that, phone records, social media, and her GPS tracking records, my attorney is having a field day. This was about 3, going on 4 weeks ago. Throughout my life, I've had theoretical contingency plans and paperwork on hand for various what-if scenarios, like living wills, power of attorney, and a list of trusted executors for different matters. On that note, I strongly suggest anyone who doesn't have these plans in place to consider doing so. I've been in situations where family members went to war in the hospital over unexpected events. I don't plan to drag this out longer than necessary. To be honest, I would have nothing to gain from potentially financially ruining her and her new partner in this situation. But it all depends on what happens in the court. I'm not looking to make amends and try again. I've made it clear to her, her family, and her friends that I'm done. My focus on life was, at one time, the 3 of them, but now it's only for our kids. Our kids are undoubtedly ours. Upon admission to the hospital, you can opt for paternity testing to be done right away. I didn't think much of it at the time, other than why not, since I was already paying for childbirth. I went ahead with a full panel of lab work while I was at the hospital for my clinic, and the STD panel came back clear. Since all this came to light, her mother and my mother have temporarily moved in to help and ensure the kids' best interests are being looked out for. At the end of the day, she is still the mother of my children, and to me, that still deserves some merit given the circumstances. I had asked my attorney to see if we can win without dragging her cheating into the court, as I thought that my kids might be scarred for life. He stated that he will try, but we need to be flexible for it. We both agreed and got ready. A few weeks later, we met in the court. I contested for the complete custody of my kids. My wife wanted my house and money. During the contest, the judge was clearly able to see that my wife was only looking for money, but fact that the kids are minor was still looming large. My attorney then suggested that we need to change the rules here, else we cannot win and will sure lose the kids. I gave a go-ahead. My attorney then opened a can of worms. First, he stated that the house was not in my name and it belongs to my parents, so it is out of question. Second, he brought up my wife's cheating. Although my wife knew that I was aware of her cheating, but she was not prepared for all the CCTV footages, all call recordings, and all texts. Everything was produced in the court. He even put up the divorce conversation video for everyone to see. My wife started screaming and howling in the court. She even tried to jump and attack me. She was restrained by the security and moved out of the court. It took about 10 minutes to get things to settle down. My attorney then added that given my wife's mental state, it is not safe for the kids to be with her. It at this moment that her affair partner stood up and stated that he was there to help. The judge lowered his glasses and started at the man. "And you are the one who is in the evidence video?" The guy nodded. "I'll give you 2 minutes to get out of here before I put you behind bars for disrupting the court proceeding." The guy was stunned. The judge then ripped him, verbally citing him as the reason for breakdown of my marriage. Although we have not sued him, he still is part of the reason that I am getting divorced. It did take a few more hearings, but it was all worth it. My ex-wife was just making a fool out of herself on every outing. By the last date, her knight in shining armor was not with her. Rats leave before the ship sinks. The judge ruled in my favor and gave me the complete custody. I was asked to pay alimony to my wife. She was asked to leave my house and find a job soon. She got supervised visitation rights. I was still fine with paying alimony as long as I had my kids. I was a free man now. My ex-wife, on the street, single and without any money. It was hard on my kids, but I know that with time they will be fine and will adjust with the new dynamics. Until next time.
Dear listener, if you have reached this far, please click on the subscribe button. It will be a great help.